Well, welcome to the Ayurvedic Association of Canada webinar on understanding the regulations of Ayurvedic medicine or herbs in Canada and the issues around them. Neelam is going to do the presentation and she will introduce herself in a few minutes. We still have a few minutes till we're going to start. And if you are not a member of the Ayurvedic Association of Canada, we urge you to join us. If you go to the Ayurvedic Association of Canada website, you can go to become a member, and there's lots of different ways that you can become a member and support the kind of spread of Ayurveda across Canada. Hi, Nellie, how are you?
Hi,
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
nice to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm well. Are you excited about Neelam's talk this evening?
I am. I love her products. I always get them and recommend them to clients. And yeah, I'm excited to know more about how we can.
What it takes to bring the products to the market.
And to be able to cover ourselves so that we don't get in trouble, right? At this transition time in Ayurveda in Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can be tricky. So yeah, it's good to know.
This kind of situation is I know that since 2006 I have been in the industry, and every few years there are remarks like that comes in the press, and that brings disrespect to Ayurveda and a lack of respect for Ayurvedic medicine in general. And as soon as you meet any health practitioners, like mainstream, and they say, "Oh, about Ayurveda," and they start to talk about, about the heavy metals and those kind of standards. So that really annoys me, and my reason for coming into this webinar is just to tell people that what Ayurvedic herbs, they go through such a stringent protocol, whether it's in Canada or whether it's in India. So the principle of truth and consciousness, that has been the core of Ayurvedic medicine, whether whoever prepares it. And as they are in like dishonest people, there are dishonest people in everywhere, not just white, limit to Ayurveda. So
Welcome, everyone. The thing that that got me so interested in this webinar was that the Fraser Health put out a bulletin on be careful with heavy metals in Ayurvedic herbs. So I emailed them and asked them what were the herbs and where did they come from, and if I knew they couldn't tell me who said something, but they didn't have any of that. They said, "Oh, we don't have a list of herbs or where they come from." It was just something they decided to put out there. And so I just was like, really? You can just put, as a big health group like that, you can just put that out there without any reference to what herbs it may be or where they came from or anything. So I'm glad Neelam's doing this, because
and even I called them that 1-800 number, and they said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Neelam Chaprani, and I'm user of Ayurvedic herbs." She says, "Do you take the herbs?" I said, "Yes, I take regularly, and I have a question about your lead poisoning notice." And they said to me, "We don't have any information." And I said, "How do I protect myself if I might be taking something that's contaminated with lead?" And they said, "We don't have any information." So I said, "What is the reason for this notice?"
Right, and they don't have an answer to why they would put that notice up without any references, right? I'm trying to get everybody on the screen. Just excuse me for a minute. No. I might not be able to do it.
Erika and I, we always like if there is something that's a burning issue, we just don't have much patience, for that, and we just want to retaliate. How dare you say something like that, and kind of a thing.
Right. And
And
I think if we don't say that,
if you don't say, then the things will continue as they are.
right.
Yes.
And we need to protect our industry. All of
Yeah.
us are wanting herbs and helping people, and Ayurvedic herbs are so great at helping people that we just, if you ever see anything like that showing up anywhere, please let us know
Yes.
so that we can somehow address it or ask a question at least about, because if it's like Fraser Health and they don't even have a herb that they're talking about, and I asked them if they would do a retraction statement saying that they didn't know the names of the herbs, and they didn't even get back to me.
Yeah. Even for me, I went to the Indian consulate and I said to the consulate that you representing the Department of Ayush in India, so you should put out a statement saying that how Ayurvedic medicines are manufactured in India and as well as in other countries, and they should put a statement. They said, no, you as an Ayurvedic association should do it because you are more connected with the regulations here. And I said, no, it doesn't matter whether if it's a regulations, Canadian regulations, of course we would talk about the Canadian regulations, but what about the products coming from India? So that Indian consulate should put out a statement, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to visit him in person and make sure that Indian consulate on behalf of Ministry of Ayush puts out something about how Ayurvedic medicines are prepared in India and what is the level of control or compliance.
Guys, I'll just let Neelam start her presentation. I put her on the screen by herself, and we can ask questions at the end. So if you could either put your questions in the chat or just keep them until the end, and we'll spend 15 minutes if anybody has any questions. So welcome, Neelam, and thank you very much for doing this for the Ayurvedic Association of Canada. And I'll let Neelam take over.
Hi, I'm Neelam Toprani. I'm a founder, founding director, and a vice president of Ayurveda Association of Canada. I was also connected with APNA, secretary to their board of directors. I'm a formulator of Sevanti Ayurvedic product, which is a pioneer company to bring Ayurvedic medicine to Canada since 2007. So I have been closely connected with natural and NNHPD, Natural and Non-Prescription Health Product Directorate, over 20 years, and had direct connection with the Director General of Health Canada as an Ayurvedic stakeholder. And that's the reason the Bureau of Program Policy, Risk Management, and Modernization of Self-Care Products, which includes massage oils and cosmetic, which comes under the Cosmetic Health Canada. So I am working very closely. I'm on their committee on the labeling self-care products. And I'm also familiar with the regulations of supplements or dietary supplements or natural health products, whether it's in Australia or whether in Europe and USA, very closely, because I've been selling the products and I know what are the regulations in different countries throughout the world. So my interest is to bring the reputation of Ayurveda, the glory that it deserves, and remove all that misfortune, whether it's in the news or whether notifications. So I really want to contest those areas. So when this Fraser Health public announcement came, I was not aware of that, but CBC contacted me. CBC called me and saying that there is this Fraser Health announcement, and they sent me the link to that, and they said that they wanted to speak with me. So it was like on a very short notice. So they just came in 1 hour. They called me and they said, we want to come within 1 hour. So they came and I had like about 30 minutes interview with them, and where I told them, that how the Ayurvedic products are manufactured in India, how they are manufactured here, and what is the Health Canada licensing, and about US products, and various things. And then I also told them that that everyday use items, as I always see in the news, that one of the item that has most lead in the industry, in the food industry, is a baby food. Can you imagine, like, baby food comes with a recall where there is like 77 times more lead than the prescribed, and 150 times more arsenic. And this is the baby food that made by Gerber and Nestle, and like well-known international companies, where there is a while there is in chocolates like Hershey chocolates, the dark chocolate, like everybody says, oh, we eat dark chocolate, and dark chocolate has most lead, which many people are not aware, because that comes out of the lead oxide, which gives the color. So instead of, if the cocoa is not dark enough, they would add those colors, and that is lead oxide, and that just increases the lead in the dark chocolates that everybody so much enjoys, from different well-known brands. And when I started saying that, okay, with Ayurvedic product, to be contaminated of lead, it has to be more than 3 parts per million. And those products, they come with 20 to 40 to 70 parts per million. And nobody says, don't eat chocolate, or don't give baby food to your babies. Nobody says that. And when Ayurvedic product, we have 3 or 5 parts per million, if there is a contamination, there is a big story. So I just talked to them about that. And interestingly, when the interview was published on the TV, like, there was no mention of what I said. So I'll just show you. This is the interview. This is not the interview exactly. There was an interview which was recorded and published. And then I complained against the CBC, saying that some of the facts were not right and the way it was presented. So they immediately stopped that publication of that video, and then they revised the video. And so this is a revised video, and there is also this kind of a notification on the CBC part that it doesn't mean that my products or any, they were contaminated, because they just put, Ayurvedic product, and then they put my product because they had the picture of my product, and then they wrote the lead the lead poisoning. So this is
The Fraser Health Authority has
Video.
issued a public health warning about the risk associated with non-registered Ayurvedic herbal remedies and opium-containing products. It comes after 2 lead poisoning cases were found to be likely linked to the medicines.
This has been a problem of long duration. It's not new. The products are plant products, and soil is sometimes contaminated in which they grow. And because of that, you could get contamination from lead.
Lead poisoning is rare, but health authorities urge people to look for Health Canada registered products.
Buy it from reliable sources. Labeling is very important. Read the label, what's in it, be aware what you're getting, and especially if you have any medical symptoms, share with your healthcare practitioner what you're taking.
Health officials and reputable suppliers tell people to look for this 8-digit natural product number, also known as NPN.
So like all our products have NPN. So what NPN means is this product has been reviewed by and approved by and licensed by Health Canada for safety, efficacy, and quality.
Neelam Tuprani is the owner of Sawanti Herbal Remedies, which sells registered products. She has been advocating for the use of Ayurvedic medicine in Canada for years.
Quality is purity, potency, and there are no additives and things like that. So that is very important. So anyone buying any healthcare product, any supplement, they have to see NPN.
Consumers can find more information on the licensed natural health products database. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Vancouver.
Okay, so this was the CBC News.
The Fraser Health Authority has
Sorry.
issued a public health.
So this was the interview, and after that, a lot of our customers, they got like concerned, like, because when something like this notification comes, so people, they want to say, okay, what is NPN, and do all your products, do you have NPN, and how do we buy products online? And a lot of customers, they had questions when such notification comes. So I thought, this would be, I spoke with Erika, and I said, we need to have some kind of a webinar or information session for all our Ayurvedic practitioners, because they are the ones who are suggesting Ayurvedic medicines to their clients. And if they have certain remedies or something like that they would like to share with their clients, then they should know what are the regulations for that. So that's the reason I just prepared a small presentation, and certain parts may not be applicable to you, in the sense that you are not the one who's going to have a line of a Ayurvedic product, but at least it gives you understanding into what is the process that Canadian products they go through, and why would a Canadian product be better than any other product. Just a general comparison that I've. So other thing is that importation of the herbal products from US and from India, and where those products are made, and then consideration preparing a traditional Ayurvedic product in your clinic. So if you want to prepare any kashayam in your clinic or any churnam, then and you want to sell them online or to your customers, to your clients, then this is the I'm just going to give a little information on that. So the sources of Ayurvedic remedies, that that where you buy, whether you buy in the stores or you buy directly from the Canadian manufacturers, or you buy online, or you buy directly from the Indian companies on their website, or you import from India, or they are prepared by some practitioners within Canada. So what are the regulations that applies to natural, like supplements? So whether they are vitamins, or whether homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, TCM, whether they are fatty acids like omegas and enzymes and probiotics. So all these products, they are under Health Canada's NNHPD regulations. So what is the role of NNHPD, Health Canada? So these regulations came in 2004. So when I came into the market in 2006, there were always talks about how people really protested when these regulations came in the market. There were town hall meetings everywhere, and then there were some companies that Health Canada had raided. So Health Canada has that power to enter any premises that dispenses. So whether it's a practitioner or whether it's a store, Health Canada has absolute power to come into your premises and look for any health product you have, and they can investigate those products and test them and charge you in case if there is a contamination or anything like that. So that is the power that Health Canada has. And the good thing is about that, yes, Canadians have access to good products, which are high quality products, and Canadian consumers, they have information that this product has been, how it is manufactured, and those are the good things about regulations. But there are also, on the other side, that that if a company is unaware of certain regulations or even a small error, and they are penalized. And I can tell you from my own experience that when we were importing a shipment of $10,000 and there was an error in just the number of NPN on a product, and they disallowed the whole shipment because there was an error in the it was only written on the front of the label and front of the package and not at the back of the package. So they can be really very stringent in that. They just came to my office and they gave me a notice, cease to exist, cease or desist, those kind of things, you know. So there are sometimes very harsh actions which are taken by Health Canada, and that's the reason I want all the practitioners of Ayurveda to be compliant with whatever the regulations are. Whatever is our differences, whenever we don't agree with certain things, we have to go through the process, but not to break the rules of the land. So that's what I feel, that what is the NPN. So how do they do that? So how, you know, as a company, we have to do the purity and potency and quality, and whether there's no foreign matters and water content and moisture and humidity and non-medicinal ingredients. So those are the things that has to be proven before a company gets NPN on a product. And I just wanted to show you an example that what is the difference between a US product and a Canadian product. So when the product is sold in US, all it needs to have is a supplement facts. And then there are no health claims, nothing. And then you just put a disclaimer that these statements have not been evaluated by FDA, because these supplements in US, they come under the food. So there is no regulations on quality. You could have anything in there. All it says is buyer beware. That's the rule, regulations in United States. So, but in Canada, it's a different thing. So here we have to say what is the use. So for example, ashwagandha, if I want to make a traditional claim, then I have to say that is rasayana and it helps on balance aggravated vata, and how it works for the seniors and how it works in case of debility. So those kind of information it gives on a product. So for people like Ayurvedic enthusiasts or students who are wanting to incorporate Ayurveda in their Ayurvedic medicine in their lifestyle, then they have the information which is available on the Canadian label, but not on the US. So that's the only difference between the Canadian product and US product. And as a practitioner, because you are aware that how to give ashwagandha, and you understand, and you are giving only to a particular client after taking their history. But somebody buys online ashwagandha, then when you buy a US product, you don't have that much of information on that unless you know what you are using. So this is about the FDA dietary supplement regulations. So it says that there is a claim may not be made about the use of dietary supplement and not subject to mandatory review, approval, or quality requirements. So in US, it comes under the food, and so there is no mandatory approval of the quality. Also, there is interesting fact about California Proposition 65. So what happens in United States, a lot of herbal companies, they cannot meet the requirements of California state in regards to the heavy metal. So most of the Ayurvedic companies in US, mostly everyone, they would have this kind of a California Proposition 65, this kind of a notice which says that this product contains a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer, and this product contains a chemical known to the state of California to cause birth defects and reproductive harm. So these kind of statements are needed in California to sell Ayurvedic products. And most companies that they do that. But in Canada, it's not allowed. So that's the difference. That in US you can put a disclaimer and then people would still buy. But that's the reason Health Canada does not allow the US product unless they are approved by Health Canada. And in Health Canada, you cannot put this kind of a disclaimer. You need to meet the heavy metal requirements. So one of the advantages of NPN product is that there are certain ingredients in Ayurveda where people, like say in Trikatu, there is an amount of black pepper in there which can affect the other medications or other natural health product. The black pepper in the Trikatu, the quantity of that. So if you are not aware of that, when we license Trikatu, we have to put those statements that you cannot, when there is any interaction of a black pepper or piperine would cause on the medications. So that is very important. While in US, you don't need to do that. Same with Hingwastak. If you're taking Hingwastak, there is a single dose would contain 125 milligram of sodium chloride, so which is very high. So people with kidney or hypertension cannot take Hingwastak. So we have to put that information. Same with the licorice, how it would aggravate electrolyte imbalance in the people with high blood pressure or cardiovascular diseases. So it's very important to understand these kind of issues. And that's the reason Health Canada is bringing these regulations. So cases when you are allowed to import product from outside Canada. So I have here pointed out that how you can bring a product from outside, say from India or from US. So if it's a 90-day supply, you can bring it, which is less as long as the product does not contain a substance listed in Schedule F of the Food and Drug Regulations. So Schedule F has mostly the products like which has like a pharmaceutical ingredients or narcotics and things like that. That is not allowed, but you can bring 90-day supply of any Ayurvedic product from India or US. And then if it's for your personal use, or there's another thing is that if it's for hospital or pharmacy dispense packaging. So if a prescription, if a pharmacy in India gives you a prescription or a doctor in India gives you a prescription, then you can bring those, import those products. But otherwise, there are always risk of Health Canada confiscating the product if you import from other countries. So compounding herbal remedies in your clinic. So this is one of the aspects that is very important for all these Ayurvedic practitioners who are trying to make some compositions, make some churnas, make some aushadhi. So how do you do that? So it says that how you avoid the microbiological contamination by packaging components, by processing materials and herbal formulations, and contact surface used in herbal compounding. So you become like a pharmacy, like a pharmacist. You have a pest control, you have a sanitation, you have cleanliness, you have how you store your raw materials and how you do it, so it has to be done in a very sanitized atmosphere. And then equipment design, inspection, calibration for performance, all those things, how you're packaging, what is the weight. So if you have a weighing machine, then how the weighing machine is used. If you have mixing bowls, or you have spoons or something, so this is not something what you use in your kitchen. You have to have a separate set of all the equipments that you need in preparing your remedies when you're doing it in your clinic. And so compounding herbal remedies would include the procedures. So what kind of processing you do, the duration, so like if you're making tinctures and what are the ingredients. So you have to do the inspection with microscopic analysis. You have to have the certificate of analysis. You have to have the storage facility. Then there's a quality control and labeling. So like if you want to make a tincture for your clients, you can do it in your own clinic, and there is a list of regulations which is on the Health Canada regulations, that how to do it yourself. And the purpose of this webinar, is this is one of the initiative for Ayurveda Association. Since I started, I always wanted to bring that information to Ayurvedic practitioners and students, that how we bring Ayurveda to a respectable medicine, and how we promote the safety, efficacy, quality, and effectiveness of tradition, of 5,000 years of tradition, and if we don't do it, who else is going to do? So as a community of Ayurvedic practitioners, this is the message that we want to bring to the community. And one very important thing is that Canadian government, like our Charter of Freedom, gives us to bring to maintain our multicultural aspect and the lifestyle. It gives us a freedom to choose, to bring our traditions, to bring our traditional medicine. The charter gives us that freedom. So we have to use that freedom in such a way that one day we can get the accreditation to Ayurveda, into education programs, into Ayurvedic medicines. And that is what the whole purpose of doing this webinar was. So I would rather be interested in hearing the questions from you. So we can spend another 15-20 minutes talking, and Erika can start with that.
Neelam, could you take your slideshow down when you're finished, just so we can have everybody on the screen that wants to ask
So
questions?
I'll just point out one more thing, is improved communication between Department of Ayush and Canadian companies. So this is very important, that as we deal with Ministry of Ayush and what are the challenges that we are facing as a Canadian companies or Canadian practitioners of Ayurveda, and recognition of Ayurvedic medicine into the provincial health insurance similar to acupuncture. So that is what is the purpose of this webinar. So by this, I will stop sharing. Okay, here we are.
Thanks, Neelam. That was amazing, as always. Great to have your insight.
This is not very interesting. This is a boring subject.
It's always great to have that insight. You've been around doing it for a long time, so thank you.
But see, like what I don't know whether this is called Green Book. Green Book is the current GMP procedures of Health Canada. So this is what I follow. So this is my pastime, when I'm nothing else to do. I just read that, just to keep myself aware of the regulations. Yeah. So being accountant.
And it's just so nice for us to begin to understand a little bit about not only the products that are made in Canada, but your explanation of you can have a 90-day supply for a client.
Yes.
I think the thing is, even that is nice.
Mm-hmm.
What I find I hear sometimes, and not with my own yogis, but sometimes other people will tell me that some clients go and look for the cheapest product in India they can find.
Yes.
Right? You have to nicely warn your clients against that.
Yes.
Because you don't really know, unless you know the company. I think looking for the cheapest products possibly online can be a very expensive thing for your client. So just be mindful of that as far as I'm concerned, right? And that may not always be the case, but you definitely need to build a relationship and understand how some products are made if you're going to get your client to purchase products from out of the country.
And there are really small companies out of Kerala or India, who have like really dedicated Ayurvedic Vaidyas, and they prepare according to classical methods. Like, for example, I have been working with this Ayurvedic herb pharmacist kind of, who prepares our Thailam. And for like 3 generations, they have been making Thailam. That's all they do. They prepare the Ayurvedic Thailam. And they are all Ayurvedic Vaidyas, but still their specialization is making Thailam. So they stick to the traditional wisdom, the traditional method of, bhavana, and they understand those aspects. So that's what I like, which the bigger companies like, Himalaya or Dabur or something, they would just, boil the Mahanara oil at 500 degrees within 2 hours, it's done. But these guys, they would be like stirring the oil for 40 days or 35 days as per the process. And they would, so how do you keep the tradition alive? Unless, yeah.
And
So
also,
that's the
I mean,
challenge, yeah.
there's so many formulas that ingredients are left out of nowadays.
Yes, because of the cost.
Cost, right?
So
So
the cost and the process, certain things, they are more difficult to process. And the bigger companies, they always look at the profit. So it's not in their interest. And so how you bring the traditional Ayurvedic remedies into your practice, into Canada, into outside India, and that is my area of interest.
and there's some great companies coming up in the US that are making Arishtam, small companies and
Yes.
different products. And it's so nice to see they go to India and study how to make the products, come
Yeah.
home and do it traditionally with traditional products. So we are expanding for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have a question, can you just put up your hand and we'll take them kind of in order, whatever questions you have for Neelam. Okay, Nancy, you go first. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just, the reason why I'm here is I use a few Ayurvedic products, but I've been in my own way, I've been following Ayurveda for 30 years because I'm a natural health person, and I've been injured by the pharmaceutical world, so I tend to avoid it. But in the chat, I put in what's going on with the Natural Health Product Protection Association right now. Is this panel aware of what's going on with Health Canada?
Yes, of course, because we get notifications all the time, and there is a lot of
But that, I guess I'll rephrase it. Are you aware that Health Canada is trying to put all health product
they already,
services and
like
practices?
when people were not aware of that, they already passed that regulations last year, and then suddenly people, they realized that it was passed in the House of in the Senate, or no,
Well, no, it wasn't passed in the Senate. It was not brought up for parliamentary discussion.
review, but yeah, but
it was buried in the budget.
Yes.
And
So now,
therefore, anyone that has control or responsibility from a parliamentary point of view over health products had no say. There was no discussion. It was done, I guess, probably surreptitiously at
yes,
best.
yeah, I totally agree to that. But that will, now that, they have reverted that, so now they are again reviewing, and it may not be that in the same format that it was intended, but it will still happen, that's for sure. And
Well,
there
yeah,
will be
okay.
fees. Yeah, it will happen, yes.
Like,
I'm
why?
familiar with NHPPA. I'm familiar with that. Yes, and
Well, you should
part of that
really, I guess, you should, everyone that uses supplements, which is the easy one, or non pharmaceutical preparations such as Ayurvedic, should be looking up and finding out what's going on today.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll drop back out now.
Okay.
I wanted
And
to
it,
say
this
that.
subject does drop its head or bring its head up over and over again. You know,
Yeah.
you see in health food stores, they have the petitions set out
Yeah.
because pharmaceutical companies want to control vitamin C or whatever. So
Yeah.
you're very right, Nancy. Everybody needs to sign those petitions because
Yeah.
that's the only way
Yeah.
that those big companies aren't going to get their way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they wanted to
with-
find out that what are the traditional medicines, how they were affected. So
Yeah.
they connected with the Canadian Health Food Association, CHFA, and then they met with Chinese medicine companies, and then even I was connected by a minister in Alberta, and they wanted to get my opinion on how Ayurvedic medicine would be affected with these regulations. So I will have a meeting with the minister, state minister in Alberta. I
Mhm.
don't remember his name right now, but I'm going to have a meeting with him. And then it's a conservative people, ministry. So they are going to, now that they are in opposition, and most probably if they are in the government, uh, they are trying, to revert this regulation.
Oh, there, I read some documents on that as well. Like I'm not in the government. I'm just a deep diver, and I like to know what's going on in my world. Like
Yeah.
I'll be 86 next week, and I'm a healthy 86, and I think I'm thinking about my my relatives and my neighbors, and what has been put on us globally with this pandemic. I mean, that started my deep dive. And we don't live in a beautiful world, in the beautiful world that we all thought we did. And so unfortunately, like I'm doing the petition around my neighborhood now for the healthcare products. I don't want to be doing that. I've never done that. I've got other things I want to do. I'm an artist. But this is important to the future of Canada in my mind. And that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I'm listening to you folks tonight. I don't want to see Ayurvedic products treated like pharmaceuticals. I don't.
No, we don't either, right? And I was just talking to Neelam before this started about how to put together a petition that everyone can sign online, because I did a Facebook piece on the Ayurvedic Association in Canada, and there was lots of interest. I had a questionnaire. I don't know if you saw it, but there was lots of
No.
interest. There was only 5 questions, and one of them was, would you sign a petition? Because Harvinder has a note here saying schedule a meeting with BC Health Minister and put forward our concerns. I believe the best way we can do that is have a list of names.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I could recommend is that I don't know who I'm speaking to directly up in the corner, but the thing that I would recommend is to your organization is that you contact Sean Buckley. He's a constitutional lawyer. He knows more about health and health products in Canada than anyone else in Canada.
Nancy, yes, yes,
and
everyone is aware of
yeah,
showing.
he's the lawyer.
Yeah. I have a long association with the industry. So, like, let's not go into
Before we
that.
move on to another question, though, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about a petition. We
Yeah.
all realize that there's issues with pharmaceuticals and the government trying to control
Yes.
things. I mean, you know, I've just been doing a deep dive into Advil and Tylenol
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
destruction on the kidneys and
Mhm.
the liver, right? There's
Yeah.
no talk in that you can go to a store and purchase as much of that as you'd like, right?
Of course, it's a
But
I agree.
pharmaceutical.
just having a conversation about those kinds of things isn't going to make any difference. The
Yeah,
first thing we need
yeah.
is a list of as many people as we can on a petition. That is
Mhm.
the only thing the government listens to. We
Yes,
can
you're
talk
right.
about this forever,
Maybe
right? And
Dr.
just
Sandeep,
hash it around.
Dr. Sandeep can say something about that.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
I also came across good evening everyone. I came across a link where the metal fibers have been found in so many nutraceutical products, and the products have been withdrawn from the market.
Mhm.
Products like Kirkland, which are available, which is a Costco brand, they have also been withdrawn and they are being called back. And Tylenol in itself is being consumed. It's being consumed for headache, for fever, for anything. Either a practitioner understands what is happening with the patient, or he doesn't understand the patient's problem. There is only one solution in this country, that is pop in a Tylenol.
Yep.
And
Good
It's
point.
true.
It
Tylenol,
is
right?
true.
Yeah,
It is
it's
true.
true.
It is true. And 2000 milligram of paracetamol per day, more than that, means 4 tablets of 500 mg each, is has been documented as hepatotoxic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And people usually are advised 2 tablets in one go. So if they have the third dose, that would be 3000 mg. And that is unregulated. It is available in big boxes of 200, 300 tablets a box, lying in the home. Anybody can pop in.
Yeah.
And the products as gentle as Ayurvedic products. If a cabbage can be sold at a grocery store, if potato can be sold at a grocery store, Triphala is as good a natural product as a potato, as a
Better.
cabbage, and a better product, which has
Yeah.
got medicinal values,
Yeah.
right? And
So,
Yeah.
how do
I
we?
go back to, can I just say interrupt for one moment? I go back to the same point. You know, we all know that there's certain things that are destructive and that nobody looks at because of, you know, lobbyists or whatever's happening. But the thing we need to do, and the reason that this whole Ayurvedic Association of Canada was developed, was to see if we could get a group of people together that we could stand together, but we
Yes.
can't have 50 people.
Yes.
We
So when
need, like,
I had approached, in the beginning when we had just listed, like 150 members, just, they were free members. So when we started the Ayurvedic Association, we just wanted to give free membership so that we have a list of Ayurvedic practitioners and we can do a petition with the Health Canada. So I approached Health Canada and they said, how many practitioners do you have? And I proudly says, well, we have 150. And they said, when you get 20,000, then come and talk to us.
right.
We
But
need
I mean,
to have
the
20,000.
government will listen for less than that. You know, you were talking about that multicultural piece, Neelam, right?
Yeah.
So we can use that to our
So
advantage.
multicultural, that's what, when I go to the temples and Indian communities, and that's where I said to lot of, there were a lot of Western medicine doctors, in our community, and they are the ones, like, don't let Ayurveda to be a part of, any discussion, whenever, like, I wanted to do some Ayurvedic, and they would say, no, Neelam, we have a medical doctors here and they wouldn't like Ayurveda in the community. So the most setback is there is no support from Indian community for Ayurveda. So that is one thing, if
And
in
many of them
community,
don't know what Ayurveda is.
and people,
honestly.
they are not aware of that. And people who have lived long time in here, they are not aware. People who are new immigrants, of course they know about Ayurveda, but then they would say, okay, this is not covered under the healthcare. So that is the challenge, that how we go into the communities and talk to people, that how we want to have this petition. So the petition has to be general, and so we can have 20,000 or more people interested in Ayurveda in the community. So we can run campaign in all the major cities in Canada, and then we put Ayurveda Association, then take
Well,
the petition
Then we
to.
have some power. And Sandeep, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'd like you to finish, right? I didn't mean for this to go on this long, but
sorry.
please finish what you were talking about.
Well, I just wanted to sum up that the way TCM is practicing, functioning, can we have a deeper understanding how traditional Chinese medicine has got into the system in a better way than Ayurveda?
Yes, I'm aware of that, because when TCM, they were regulating this process, one of the important person out of that association was a lawyer who was a friend of mine, and he says, Neelam, whenever you are ready for Ayurveda, come to me and I'll guide you how we can have that. And I'm also, because my background in Chinese medicine, most of people, they don't know that I've been trained in TCM. So I do Ayurveda and TCM, in a parallel way, and I understand and I interchange concepts, between Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and Yin and Yang very easily. And I'm also familiar with Chinese medicine. And there are one very important, very well-known Chinese company called Eastern Currents, which is, very close to where my office is, and I'm in very close contact with them. And they are the one of the main company who was responsible in regulating Chinese medicine in Canada. So he also tells me that, Neelam, when you are ready, let me know and I can guide you how you can bring Ayurveda as a regulated medicine in BC.
So
Can
I think
we,
we just need to get more practitioners as
Yes,
part of the
practitioners
organization.
and the general public too.
Yeah. Sorry, Sandeep, go ahead.
fast forward 5 years, we want to mention Sevanti the same way in
Yeah.
getting Ayurveda regularized, and the credit,
Yeah.
of course, if you know, and let us know
Yes,
what
yes,
support you want
definitely.
in person,
Yes,
online, or
definitely.
whatever support you want, then we are all together to support each other.
I'm so happy that
And
we have this association, and we are, trailblazers like Erika and Dr. Sandeep, that, when I started, like I was the only one, like, but still I have managed to get 65 product licenses and do the site licensing. So I'm aware of how the process works and how to deal with the government in the regulations. So I'm very much, connected, with the Director General's office and people who are officers in the Health Canada. So they would also guide me if we
So
have.
when we get a petition going, you also have to take it out to your community and get as many signatures as you can, right?
Yes,
And it's
yes.
going to be again, no, I sound like a dog with a bone, but it's the first thing that we
Yeah.
need to start doing to get any recognition from any government organization. If there's two of us, we don't get that kind of recognition. But
Yes.
if there's enough of us, and
Because
especially
I had seen,
multicultural, they
like,
have to.
I still have that flyer, which postcard, which was done by TCM. And when I get a chance, I will, I have that hard copy of that postcard. What is TCM, how it works, and how it is prepared, and very beautifully, and what is the traditional message of Chinese medicine. It's nicely done, a small postcard. So similar postcard I had in my mind, that one day I will prepare a similar postcard and send it to people. So those times in 2006, every health food stores had like piles of those Chinese medicine, those postcards in the health food stores. And And I picked it up and they said, okay, one day we'll have Ayurvedic postcards like that. So that's what we need to do. Like bring it, mass.
To
And
join the
nowadays,
association.
first join the association for sure, because we need some money, to run this organization. Like just the small expenses, like running the websites and paying for the, small bills, like organizing
Zoom, like
Zoom meetings and paying for the Facebook ads and Instagram. So that's what we need,
Yeah.
expenses.
But
for.
we, in the next few weeks, or at least by the end of the summer, we will start a petition, right? So
Yes,
I'd
definitely.
like all of you to, keep it in your mind that you will be part of it, you will sign it, you will spread it with your community, so that, we can safeguard ourselves to some degree against just being bowled over because nobody's doing anything. So is
Yes,
everybody
it's
good
true.
with that? Perfect. Is anybody else besides, I'd like someone else to ask a question or have a comment besides us.
Our
Besides
Eva,
the one that's been talking.
she's joined us from Europe.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the late join, but I had to set an alarm and I almost slept in. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. here now,
Thank you.
but I'm
Eva.
very happy to be part of the discussion and
Thank
I
you,
listened
Eva.
to every word you said. And I'm totally in favor of starting the petition and do the work. And some of you know that I'm working on a docuseries that is going to be premiering in October. So I will use that as a platform as well to bring attention to our petition so that many people will sign it.
Thank you, Eva.
Thanks, Eva. Anybody else? Oh,
I will have something to say. Hello, everyone. Those of you that know me, you know that I have served 20 plus years in the legal field as a certified legal consultant. And I have seen a lot of kerfuffles in my years that had to do with regulatory of all kinds of things, regulations of professions, professionals, different ways of, even foreign professionals coming into Canada. They have had all the kinds of difficulties, even when they were actually overeducated over the Canadians, and they have still struggled to find the right tone. What I feel from all of what I've heard from you guys is that the best way to go is a pathway that someone already has paved in front of us. I believe that if the traditional Chinese medicine people have succeeded in their product line and in their ways of being viewed by the Canadian public and government. I think that, Neelam Chi, if you consult with those folks who have already fought this fight, that would be a major advantage for us and on our journey. And of course, we stand behind you and will fully support. And yes, the petition needs to be done and we have to have numbers. So anybody that loves Ayurveda, anybody that's been following Ayurveda, anybody that's been practicing at home the wisdoms of Ayurveda, or any professional, I think it is our duty to all hold together and go to our communities and get petitions and make some noise. And I believe that that's exactly what the Chinese community did. They got numbers and they made noise, and the government could no longer avoid that. So they had a powerful presence. And so that's what we need to.
And also the Chinese government was the one that helped the most in the saying that in licensing. What they did was they prepared all those documents and stuff like that. So if anybody wanted a license for number 123, there was all the information ready. All they have was to do was just submit to Health Canada license number 123, and they were just granted. So that, and I had spoken to Ministry of Ayush that what are you helping us in regulating, but it's difficult to get something from Department of Ayush.
Sorry, Nellie, you go ahead now. You have had your hand up for a while.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely yeah, agree with the petition and all of that. And I just have a question specifically on herbs. I love the Shawanti products that Neelam has. Like the quality is like really good. I use like the herbs and the oils like every day. And I've used other products from other brands too, and it's not the same. It's really good. The thing I'm wondering is if you like if there's products that Shawanti doesn't have, what does anyone have any recommendations on like other brands or companies that are reputable and like just as high quality?
No, there are some US companies that those are good, but would be difficulty in getting the products from US or from India. That is the issue. If it's a
Yeah.
single herbs, then
I
it's
mean,
not a
you
problem.
said you can for a 60-day supply, right?
Yeah.
So I use a lot of Kerala products. I love them.
Mhm.
And Codical products from the US
Cortical, it's
are
very
really good.
one. Yeah.
So they've all, they've all had a lot of stringent work done on them. The thing I like about Kerala products is I know they are made traditionally. I have been in India and seen it happen, right? So some of their Thailands they're stirring, 101 times. They're changing 101 times. A lot of companies don't do that, but there's not really a lot besides Neelam in Canada, right?
That's
Right?
what I found, yeah.
Erika, Polji also has a product, isn't it? Ayumantra.
Yeah, what's in
Ayumantra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yes,
he's Canadian. He's in Ontario, so you can try that one. AYU and then
Yeah, I have tried that actually, but the Googaloo formulas, they don't have all the herbs that they're supposed to have. So
Yeah.
that's the issue
that's
that I
when-
found with that.
Yeah.
Neelam, will you ever be bringing in Googaloo products?
Yes, in fact, I'm doing an application for Kashuri Guglu. Like because we have a Guglu itself and we have a Trifla, so we suggest people, just mix the Trifla with the Guglu, But Kashuri Guglu in a capsule form, I'm going to bring. But there are like, even right now, I'm working on Shilajit formula because like a lot of men in the community, oh, Neelamji, bring us a good product, with Shilajit. So I have applied with Shilajit product with very high potency Shilajit with 8 other herbs. So that's what I do constantly, work on new products. And even I tried, working on getting Chavanprash with the NPN, but it's like not happening because the pharmacopoeia evidence and pharmacopoeia, those herbs, they are not in the commercial production. So it's difficult to get those herbs, which is as per the pharmacopoeia of India.
Okay, now you go ahead, your turn.
Yeah. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Yeah. It was nice presentation, Neelam. But about the regulations of herbs, we can understand that some of the herbs we can use and some of we can't use. We can use those kind of available herbs, but I have concern with the procedures because mainly it is not only herbs but certain panchakarma procedures. So I need, or we in general need actually information about what kind of procedures we are allowed to do and with what kind of preparation we can do, because
Yes.
there is a limitations when
Yes.
yeah.
We don't have, in fact, Erika, if you remember, Manjari had done that webinar a long time back and how to interact with the clients and how you do certain things, I think we have that information.
I probably do. I have to look.
It's like because when I had developed a Panchkarma therapist program long time back in 2007 or 2008 in Langara College, 250 hours program. So in that program, we had a code of conduct which was 20 hours program. So that code of conduct, that content, like I had prepared that content. So I'll go through that, and I'll send you that information.
Yeah.
I can also help you. I
If it
just
is-
finished Careless.
We could
Yeah,
have one
150
webinar based on
pounds.
that, Erica. You
Yeah.
can talk about that.
And I kind of know a lot of, I mean, we know we can't use buzzwords in Canada, right?
No, but starting
No,
from
without-
how-
without Busman's also
I mean,
there are
Shaka Buzzma is okay. There's a
Yes,
couple
yeah.
that are okay, but the mineral ones, that's, even though some of them work really well, but I finished part 1 of that program. And I did part 1 and part 2 in India when I was there 5 years or 6 years ago. So but the problem is that even if you're doing Vastis, you cannot insert it, right?
Yeah, no. So there is, I think that's what we taught, that how you can get those disposable.
Yeah, we can get around some of it that we do by doing that kind of a thing. I do that personally. We can't do Vamana for sure. If anything ever happens with Vamana, there will be big trouble, right? But Vastis, yes. Varichana, yes. No Rakta Moksha.
Rakta Moksha.
No leech therapy, even though there's amazing things that could be done.
No,
But I had a young client who I've had for 6 months who I've done 2 panchakarmas with, and he's no longer in a wheelchair. And I didn't need to use all the therapies. What you need to do is look at how you can use what's available to you.
Yes.
To be able to still get those same results, right? And now I have an MS lady, same thing. Her hands moving. She hasn't moved it in 5 years. So there's ways we can get around it.
Yes.
We kind of want to use everything, but that's not a possibility. We have to let that go for a while, right?
I learned a lot from Dr. Shekhar, Anambutla on that matter, that how in Maharishi, when they started Ayurveda, whether in US or in Europe, they had very limited herbs and very limited process that they could do. But Maharishi had developed such a process that they could, and then now all those things are available. But like before 30, 40 years, when Maharishi came in US, that time they had like very, very few products. And
so we could, we can get, we can get, if you want to have a conversation on Zoom one day, I can talk to you a little bit about what I do.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm thinking that we should have all the information in our Ayurveda Association website. So everybody who are a member can understand those things whenever they want. Actually, it should be, very easily available for them.
No, but then, it's a question of a liability also, if what happens.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we cannot put that kind of, because it's a professional information, which is like
on some degree it's medical.
Yeah, and no, like a physician's website would say how to do a surgery or how to do something. Would they put it on the doctor's website?
Yeah. So Dinal, see, we are not a regulatory body.
Okay.
So this is the difference. You see where I'm coming from? So we are an association, and I think currently our biggest goal is to bring awareness to the Canadian public about Ayurveda. And now that this Pandora's box was opened once again, because obviously I'm hearing it that every few years they go at it. It's a different. It's what am I going to say? First, of course, the government wants to control. Okay, I've seen many other products as I am also an Ayurveda practitioner. I see a lot of other products they restricted, especially under COVID times, especially those that were being brought in as a food supplement. Right, Neelamji? So there are other products that are not Ayurvedic products, but they still were restricted. Just I'm saying to you guys, put it into perspective. Now, the other thing is, as I am specialized in frequency, I really appreciate high quality products. So I, for one, would support company like Savanti, who makes sure everything is above and board in terms of ingredients. So people should be brought awareness to that. It's just the journalism wasn't fair. So we really need to stand together. We need to have numbers, and we need to have a petition. And journalists, you guys know, I'm sure every single one of you in this room and beyond know how journalists are, right? I don't need to say it, right? So you guys know that they're all looking for excitement, and you know, and so we have to kind of rise above it. We have to understand that the Canadian public has the right to know what's in the product. We have to understand that there are a lot of products that might not be, you know, above and board, like Savanti's. So yes, we need to know what those brands are that we can use. And if we have the numbers, then a regulatory body will yield out of that space, Dinal. Do you know what I mean? Because I know what you're looking for, but we have got our hands tied a little bit as an association in that regard.
Because the practitioner like me who are new in the country, they don't know how to start, and they switch to, you know, other occupation and other things because just for survival, you know.
I know.
Well,
and this is why
that's part of, excuse me for interrupting, but Danelle, that's part of why people need to join the Ayurvedic Association.
Yeah, so then
Canada
learn from
and be involved in private talks like this.
That's right.
If
And you
they
see
don't
the
join us, then and they're out there, then they have to go find another career, right? So
and the reason
the only
why
way we're going to get this going is if people become members. We have more talks like this. We see, we can't, like Neelam said, we can't put all this information on the internet, but we definitely can share it between us now until things become more stable for our
until it's time. And just the only reason, and I don't like to go back to the past, not my own either, but the reason why I'm bringing my legal experience to you guys is because I've seen this happen time and time with the government. This is a long process. And so the only way we can win is if we have numbers, if we collect information, if we network and communicate with each other, we put all our thoughts and knowledge and intelligence together. And if you love Ayurveda as much as I love Ayurveda and everybody else in here, because we know what it does for us and we know what it can do for humanity, then we need to be smart, because the government is going to keep pressing in the name of control anyways. So I say, Neelamji, we got to go with and interview the people that were successful in the TCM.
Yes, definitely.
And
I think that's, as you are saying, you know,
to be fair to the government and to be fair to all of Canada.
Yeah, like level-headed.
Even the Indian community, people do not know this. So there is a little bit of fear. The only way we get over that is by spreading the word, by getting more people to come to webinars, by having our own yogis or our own clients have some success, so that we're still a grassroots movement, right?
Yeah, it is a grassroots movement.
So we
and
need
for me, like I always think that if I was in a vitamin C business, or if I was selling potato chips in the health food store, I would have made more money. But then I always thought, if I don't do Ayurveda, who else is going to do? So that kept me for the last 15 years, you know, saying that it was not an easy path. And never, like for like over 10 to 12 years, I never made $1.
Yeah.
I made losses, you know, in the beginning.
Yeah. And even in product formulation, like for example, I use a lot of magnesium, nothing to do with Ayurveda, right? Magnesium I'm talking about, macro mineral. And you know the differences in products? Huge differences, huge. I can list you 50 different brands of products in Canada that's simply a magnesium product in natural health food stores that absolutely do nothing. Okay? And because they have no efficacy, they have no potency, they've got no purity, they're not organic, and so on and forth. So product formulation is a big thing, and the Canadian any public, you guys know, will go for the deal.
Yeah,
like
but we
the
are fortunate
deals.
that we have been given this mission to promote Ayurveda in
I
a
agree,
ways.
Neela.
So
That's
yeah,
fabulous. Yeah.
yeah. So let's make the best of it. Not
Numbers and
discourage.
education.
Now
For
we had
me,
a
like
question.
never
Hold on.
ever.
We have to finish in a couple of minutes, but Nellie had her hand up for about 5 minutes and I never got to her. So go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I know that you can bring like we said that you can bring herbal products into Canada for like 90 days your own use. I'm just wondering, are you allowed to bring basmas from India with you into Canada for
There are
personal use?
chances that they would toss that product or confiscate that. They would.
And if you ever gave
as I
them to a
mentioned,
client,
as I mentioned in that the Schedule F, so this would fall under Schedule F.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, be very, very careful with those. Anyway, you guys have been fabulous. Thank you for coming. Please, we'll get the petition going and maybe you could have it in your clinic or get your yogis or your clients to sign it. We just need to have the right statement made up first at the top, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Neelam
everyone.
knows better than anybody how to do that. So when that happens, make sure you join us on Facebook and different places and come back to our webinars and our practitioners forum and get other practitioners to join so that we actually have a community. I mean, Neelam and I've been with Neelam like what, 5 or 6 years now, right? Neelam?
Yeah.
We've been running around the same.
Like I don't have any friends in the Ayurvedic, for like about 12 years, like I don't go store anywhere. Like, if there was Ayurveda, it was just me in the whole of Canada.
Right, and for the AAC, I've been around a long time with Neelam now, right?
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
need to make this grow now. And if you're really serious about having a practice that you can make money at,
Yeah. And then
we need to
universe
get
takes,
together and we need
you
to
put
do
a
something.
trust in Ayurveda and universe will help you. The
Yeah.
universe
Sure.
is what I would say.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Will help you,
And
for
show
sure.
up, you people. Show up.
Just go
Tell
there
your
and put
people to
yourself.
show up.
Just
Yeah.
and Natalie, did you have any more questions before we stop?
No,
Yeah.
that's good. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank
Thanks.
you, everyone. Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
thank you.
Please.
And I just need to let you know I have recorded this.
Okay.
So this one will only go out to practitioners, right? What that means is if you're a member of our association as a practitioner, all the 3 practitioners forums that we had will be available to you. If you're not a member, they will not be available to you.
But I think, Erika, why don't you give this one access to everyone, because there are a lot of people that had contacted me and